Hello, good afternoon. Happy Monday to you. How is your day going so far? When a new week comes along, you got to forget about what happened last week. Set out on a Monday with fresh eyes. A lot of people complain, oh, I hate Mondays, oh, I hate Mondays. No, Mondays are a lovely day. It's a day of new beginnings. So, my name is Yafod Atop. I welcome you to Let's Talk with Mama Ya on Auntie Ya's Book Corner. So, last week, I was here talking about how you are showing up, and we spoke about communication. So today we are going to be talking about how are you showing up. It's communication. What did I say? Last week was grooming. So this week we're talking about communication. So basically, I got the idea for this series from looking at myself as a believer Christian and also believers, mainly from my community and the way our outlook is, how we do things, how we show up. It's a question for anybody, really, but I find that for us who are supposed to be living the victorious life, sometimes we are not really applying the principles in the Bible to our lives. And we moan and groan and pray and pray and pray, but there's just certain practical things we need to be doing to make life go better for us. It's not everything that has to be prayed about. Sometimes you need to take action. Yes. So on this platform, we do any number of programs. On Saturday, we have our Facebook Lives. We've been away since the Easter break. That was since Easter. So we'll be back this Saturday at 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, 1 p.m. EST to continue our series Demystifying Cultural and Religious Norms. So join us at that time. Also, we have beauty lessons. Beauty lessons are lessons from my second book, which is The Beauty of a Woman's Heart. And then we have Own It with Your Own Ornithologist and Queen of Own It. So here are the books. Yeah, that's The Beauty of a Woman's Heart. And then we do reflections. I take a snippet from my book and I talk about it. That was my first book. And there's also Refreshing for My Weary Soul. This Thursday I'll be doing a live and it'll be coming from this book. That's a book read, yes. And of course, there's Own It with Your Own Ornithologist and Queen of Own It. This is an Amazon international best-selling book. It's a guide to taking responsibility and accountability for our own life journeys, really. And last but not the least, we have Auntie Ya's Own It Academy. We provide life coaching, women empowerment, and book coaching and publishing. You have a story that you want shared. A lot of us think that our life is boring, our stories are of no interest to anybody, but that is totally wrong. Somebody is waiting for your story because it's going to be a solution or an answer to a problem that they have. Yes, I also do Pearls of Wisdom with Auntie. I buy a passage from the Bible. I talk about anywhere from 6 to 15 minutes and just the insights that I get from it. So do join us on this platform. A lot going on. So basically, I said this is Let's Talk with Mama Ya. So today I'm talking about communication. So when you say communication, like what do we really mean? I mean, I'm talking to you right now. I'm communicating something to you. So communication has to be you are giving information and somebody receiving it and giving you feedback on it. So it's almost like sending and receiving information or imparting information. Yeah. And the thing is, there's verbal, as in spoken, and there's non-verbal. I have a post that I put out on this platform today on this page. I said, be alert, be observant. You'll be surprised at the nuances that you pick up. People's body language tells you a lot. Yes. Somebody might be telling you something, but you look at them and you read them and you know that they are not telling you the truth or they are hiding something. Or you can see somebody and you know that you can tell that they are visibly upset and they are trying to act like they are okay, but they are not. And so maybe if you dig deeper, a lot of times we want to mind our own business and not bother. But if you dig deeper, you might find out that that person is going through something, and then maybe you might be able to talk to, have a chat with them and perhaps help them. So then, a lot of times when I'm talking of these interactions, depending on how you were raised or what your upbringing was, you might not be able to um, be confident or be verbalizing enough. There's a lot of people who were not built up, told that they are good enough. It's okay for them to speak up. You know, if you are from an environment where uh, kids are not supposed to have opinions, they're always supposed to keep quiet. It gets very difficult to break out and speak up. So then, what are the purposes of communication? Is to inform, to express feelings, to imagine, to influence, to meet social expectations. But when I say how do you communicate, what I mean is how do you interact with people? Are you friendly? Are you open? Sometimes you meet people and they have this closed up look. You can tell that they are not open for discussions or open to chatting with you about anything. So they are closed off. You can't push through. And then there's others too. They are so open. They are very friendly. So you know that you can have a conversation, have some kind of communication with them. And also, it's how you present yourself. Communicating means speaking with confidence. What are some of the attributes? You should, if you're meeting somebody for the first time, for example, you have to have eye contact, be friendly, not overly friendly. You have to have a firm handshake. Yeah. And the thing is that, are you able to hold a conversation? You might be in a situation you are meeting people for a first time. Maybe they are even assessing you for a position. It's not the interview itself, but they brought you around in a particular setting just to get a feel for who you are. What nuances are they going to pick from you? Are you confident? Some of the conversations and the questions that they may be asking you might be, let me call it, I don't want to say trick questions, but they're just assessing you informally. Okay. These days, people just won't plop you in front of a chair uh, behind a table and talk to you and give you a job. They want to see how you interact in different circumstances. So they might bring you into a social setting of the organization and see how you know you how you work the room. Basically, is what I like to say. Are you somebody who's intimidated in social settings? There are people that they won't speak up, they won't say boo to a dog. They don't know what to say. They give yes and no answers. But um, you need to be able to hold a conversation, ask leading questions. Somebody says, "How are you?" "Oh, I'm fine." Then you just stand there. You go further. So, how about you? How was your day? The person may talk a bit, then you ask further questions, and they may also throw some questions about back at you. So then you'll be engaging. I remember myself, there's a lady friend that I have at church, and I've heard her talk about her daughter, but I've never met her daughter. And so one time I see her with a lady, I'm like, oh, this must be her. So we're going in the washroom. I told myself, I'm not waiting for her to introduce me to her. I said, oh, this must be your daughter. We haven't met. And yes, she introduced her then, and we had a conversation. If you are confident, you should be able to take charge in social settings. Sometimes you don't wait for people to come and talk to you. In our community, sometimes we have some of these games that we play, and somebody will say, well, if they are acting like they haven't seen me, well, I'm not going to bother with them. Let me tell you something. You just need to go up and say, oh, hi, hello there. I thought I'd seen you. How are you doing? And shame them. Sometimes you need to walk the higher ground, take the higher road, and let them sweat it. But if you sit back and you go, oh, they saw me and they didn't say anything to me, you are sitting there feeling slighted. Rise above it. Show them that you have dignity. Yeah, that's how, these are all part of the tricks and the nuances that we have to carry on. So, like I said again, good posture, stand confidently, look confident, maintain eye contact, shake hands, and of course, attentive listening. Don't treat people like, oh, the person is talking, but you are scanning the room to see because you think this person is not important, not worth my time. Let's see who else I can gravitate to. No, give people your full attention. It's part of the communication. So, how do you communicate? You communicate with your words and with your actions. Yeah. So, when I spoke about being intimidated in social, oh, hello, Nanaraba. How are you doing? I hope you had a good weekend. Happy Monday and have a good week, eh? So, when we're talking about, I was saying earlier about do you feel intimidated in social settings? So, one of the things about this is we have this, especially in my community. English is not our first language, but all of us, including myself, we've all been guilty about of this from one time to the other. It's not a particular habit that I make, but I know it's out there. English is not our language, yet we check a lot of grammar and we laugh at people and mock people. So, because of that, people have this inferiority complex and won't even try. Look, there's people from different backgrounds, different countries, and they speak the English with their accent. And of course, if you are in the diaspora, for example, they can understand you. You see people whose language is not English and they are speaking as best as they can and they are speaking confidently and you can understand the conversation. So, why is it that we allow it to limit us? A person will tell you, I'm not going to go to the office because when I go there to speak, they won't understand my English and I'll be embarrassed. No, you have to have coping mechanisms, how you deal with it. If you go to an office and the person says something and they're acting rude, there's those who genuinely can't hear you and you say, oh, pardon me, I missed that, and you'll repeat yourself. And there's those who act ignorant because they see you, oh, they act like they never heard what you said. You just enunciate and raise your voice a little. They'll get the message. You have to have techniques. Don't allow the language barrier to browbeat you into feeling, um, you know, feeling less than. Listen, the thing about us too is that in my community, I find that the majority of us are too proud. Oh, okay, sounds good. um, Majority of us are too proud to take classes. In the diaspora, there's many classes, English as a second language for adults. Immigrants come, there's different classes. So if you really want to make the effort and better yourself, you will. But we choose not to for one reason or other. We're too busy, making money, so we don't focus on some of these things. But you have to think of it that once you're in this environment, you may be having kids here. So getting a better grasp of the language will help you go a long way. And then I talk about, basically our background too has an impact on how we communicate. I mentioned earlier that, if you are from an environment where kids are suppressed, kids are not supposed to speak, adults are always right, you become timid, right? And then compare it. I think in one of the lives I did last week, I mentioned that compare it to a child being raised here. Those children here are taught that they have to speak up. They have to be confident. Even in the classroom, the teacher will encourage them to write their stories. Even if they spell wrong, they've written the stories. At first, I didn't understand it because I was brought up in this British, environment, spell properly, do this, do that. If you focus so much on that, you stop the child from expressing themselves. So when you encourage the child to express themselves, then the corrections can come after. That's how I got to understand the system. And I'm going to use an example of my 3-year-old grandson. He's not in school yet, he goes to daycare, but his language skills and the way he expresses himself. So he was over this weekend and he had on new runners. And I said, oh, Malachi, I want I like your shoes. Will you buy me a pair of shoes? And he's sitting he's sitting on the staircase, the landing with his older sister, and I'm standing in the kitchen doorway. And he goes, yeah, but we have to buy you bigger ones. He raised his hand. We have to buy you long ones because he looked at my foot. So he's telling me that his shoe size is not my shoe size. We have to get a bigger one for him, for me. Okay, park that there. Another time, a few weeks ago, we had visited, and as we were leaving, it was nighttime. So he was on his pajamas. And I said, Malachi, I like your pajamas. He looks up at me and he goes, yeah, but we have to buy a big one for you. So this is a child already thinking and expressing themselves. I'm not saying that kids in my community are not expressing themselves. No, they are. But I'm saying that it's a different ball game here. If you don't teach your child to be expressive, they go into the classroom, they might not be able to hold their own. They should be able to say yes, no, please, thank you, all that, express themselves. It's all a communication. So then, let me see here. I forgot. This is how are you showing up? What is communication? So we're going to talk about communication styles. I mean, these are maybe formal things, formal definitions, but when you think through it, we all have a little bit of it, or we fall in one particular group. So the first ones are the passive. So I'll hazard a guess that where I come from, maybe most of us may be in that area. It's like we're quiet, we don't seek attention, don't make waves, be quiet, you're making noise. A lot of times when you get into the environment and you speak out, oh, predator, keep quiet, you're too, how do you call it? I'm not, the word is not coming to me. You are too, always all over the place. Settle down, quiet, calm down. But it's a form of self-expression. You want to speak up, right? And these kinds of people, they don't take a strong stand on anything. They are not able to say no. No is a simple word, N-O. I am not able to do this. No, I can't. But we are so afraid of displeasing people. And of course, they lack eye contact. I believe it may be as like self-confidence, it's a factor here. So they won't even look you in the face. And they always, people who always apologize. I'm sorry, I'm this, that apologetic demeanor. Yeah. So that's the passive style of communication. They don't tend to speak up. Anything goes. You ask them, oh, what's your opinion? Oh, it's okay. And they'll just nod and go along with the flow. So I guess I'm thinking if you have a child like that or an adult like that, they are able to be easily influenced or easily led. They'll go along with anything because they don't take a stand. Yeah. And of course, when we go to the second one is the aggressive. So they're aggressive, they express their feelings. You know they are expressing it. They tend to dominate conversations. In any conversation, you have the one person, they know everything. They are very loud. They don't allow other people to talk. And you're going like this. No, you're not even doing this, but in your head, you're going like that. When are they going to finish so that I can get a word in? Yeah, with such people, you can't even get a word in edgewise. And of course, they react before thinking. They like to intimidate. They are the bullies. You go in a crowd, they are the ones talking, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, okay, does this person ever tone it down? I mean, there's a place for it, right? There's a place for everybody, but sometimes it gets a tad irritating. And then, of course, they interrupt you while you are speaking, especially if it's something, oh, no, no, it's not that way. This is how we should do it. They can be very overbearing. And so these are almost like the bullying type. When you have them in work situations, your manager is like that. I'm sorry, you are hooped. And they use aggressive gestures just to make their points, and they maintain intense eye contact, almost like they're trying to intimidate you, overpower you. Yeah. Nobody likes that form of like that communication style. People who have those, I would like to say, I'm guessing that they can become abusive, like they can intimidate people, they can harass people. And, this is how bullying happens in the workplace or in relationships too, for that matter. Yeah, excuse me. And then, of course, we go to the passive aggressive. They are passive on the surface, but are driven or they are motivated by aggression. They are the people, like their words don't align with their actions. They'll tell you, I'm fine, I'm fine. And then they'll act like everything is okay, but inside they are seething. They are so angry. They are very angry. Yeah. And then they manipulate situations to their benefit. So you think that Oh, you've asked them to do a task or this or that, and you never get any. They'll go around muddying the waters. Oh, well, this. No, she didn't say this. This is what they said. Oh, I don't think the timelines are so set in stone. It can be any time because they don't want to do the work. And you know you heard otherwise, but they'll be bullying you to think that, oh, this is what it is. And of course, the people who feel powerless use this method. Yeah, they matter and they are very sarcastic, or they'll give you the silent treatment. Yeah, they can give you the happy face, like I said, even though they are very, very upset. And then we go to the fourth personality type, or the assertive. The assertive people, they are very respectful and productive type. This is a respectful and productive type of communication. So they share ideas and their thoughts freely. Yeah, but they do it respectfully. They are engaging. They want to work with people. They take on challenges. They know how to say no when needed. And of course, they know their limits and their boundaries. So, an assertive person, you can't monkey with their boundaries, try to bully them into submission. No, 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 they are not going to take it. They'll tell you firmly but politely. A lot of times, when managers want to resolve situations in the team dynamic, they may use the assertive people, put one in each group, and they'll do some team building or what do you call it? Working through some issues, challenges to arrive at solutions. Yeah. And they speak with a clear voice, they have friendly eye contact, and they collaborate and share good posture and, of course, healthy expression of ideas. So, my thing is, in our daily interactions, communication is very, very important. As a person, you have to know what your communication style is, how you talk to people. If you are somebody who's always rude, condescending, talking down to people, people don't want to be around you, or you intimidate people. You need to find there's a balance, really, discipline, self regulation, yeah. Just because you are passive does not mean that you have to be bullied or overpowered. Find out what your weaknesses are and work on them to become better. But in any setting that in which you are, you need to be able to carry on a conversation. You need to be able to acknowledge people's points of views. I find that in my community on social media, especially, just because I don't agree with you, you have a lot of insults going back and forth. That is not a great show of emotional intelligence. At some point, you have to agree to be disagreeing on whatever the issues are. There's no need to be insulting people. You have to engage respectfully with people. And also, this is very important to, especially in the family dynamic, teach your kids how to communicate, teach them how to regulate their emotions. You don't resort to harming people just because you want something and they don't give it to you. So you have to bully people to get what you want. Basically, as an adult, you are responsible for your own life. You have to own it and take accountability and responsibility. That is my Own It book. Communication. What cues do people get when they see you or when they meet you? Are you friendly? People read, you can read people a mile off. You can. And you study them, or you may get a sense about a person, and you find out that your intuition is always right or on the money. Yeah, communication is very important. It's the back and forth communicating. How do you talk to people? You know, um, I can't stress it enough. It's so, so important because you have to, the way you use your words has an impact or an effect on people. So we need to be very careful, whether in the written word. I remember a while back, a colleague of mine had come to me and say, "Oh, how do you write those emails? So polite." So I say, "Yeah, maybe I could be angry while I was writing it, but you don't put that in writing. You got to be professional. Watch your word." We talked about verbal. So you're written communication, you're typing something up. If you're so angry, just save it in draft. Cool yourself down, pick it up again, look at it, and tell yourself, okay, I need to cut this, I need to change this, I need to add that. You read through it, it sounds polite, it sounds professional, but the message is there. The receiver will know what you are talking about. There's no need to send unprofessional communication around and ruffle feathers, cause tension. No, it doesn't work. So basically, if you've just come on, it's been Let's Talk with Mama Ya. So the question was, how are you showing up? And today was communication. Last week I did grooming. If you missed that, if you go down on this page, you'll find the video, which was last Monday. So I've talked about what communication is, and I've talked about the communication styles, and I've just added some commentary on how, to manage yourself in social settings, how the back and forth, being respectful of people. It's so important. If we took the time and worked on how we communicate with one another, I'm sure there'll be more peace in this world. But alas, we're having a human experience. Things don't always go well, but you need to tell yourself that as much as it is up to me, I will do my best to maintain positive and open communication with everyone. And so, good evening. Nice to have you here. And so, with that, I'll end it right here until next time. I'll be back on Thursday with the book read, and we'll be reading from Refreshing for My Weary Soul. I'll be picking a passage from there and we'll talk about it. So, take care until next time. I thank you all for joining me. Bye for now. Take care.